welcome each and every individual to the Wizard certification for the 30-minute strategy session. And boy, I hope you all are getting out, as much as I am. This is Mark Boersma. And, when I invest $50 million into something, like, I'm going to get my money's worth, right? I mean, hopefully you all are thinking the same exact thing. So if it seems like we're going over a lot of information in a short period of time, the reason it seems that way is because, we are. Way to go, Avalinda, on managing up and out. You watched the lesson. You had a great manage up and out. Hopefully you shared that with your art mentor and your two art buddies and other people, and then that created a ripple. To get to what we're going through today, you probably already know that, the Wizard's Life. That's www.thewizardslife.com, and you can go through that. Then you slide down. Well, this is how it is now, but it might change in the future, and you can click to go to the Wizards Life homepage. When you get to the Wizards Life homepage, then it's the third one down, at least now it is. It may change, certification for the 30-minute strategy session. Again, if you're getting lost, if it seems like we're going over a lot of information in a short period of time, the reason it seems that way is because we are. So hopefully each lesson builds on the previous lesson, so it's really important you never miss a lesson. So in the Wizard's Art, the 30-minute strategy certification, what we're going to learn today is move your people from the right of your art over to the left. So move the people from the right over to the left. And so Avalinda, she's doing great. So should she replace Mark, Nancy, Don, or Teresa? I don't know. But you want your strongest people closest to you. Matt, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they're going to be, better stewards of your 7 T's: time, talents, treasure, trust, truth, temple, and thought. Time, talents, treasure, trust, truth, temple, and thought. The clicking on the workbook, the Wizard, I've talked to him quite a bit this week. He's indifferent about the group. I mean, there's some parts like he was impressed with, Avalinda. He continues to be impressed by Matt. Like, Matt is just, he's just like, how long can Matt continue to put on this act, of incompetence? Like, it's like, man, the guy's a genius, but so Matt went ahead and intentionally didn't go ahead and manage up and out because he wanted to be a great example to all of you, to be able to do that. Register. If you haven't registered for the members only area, that's where you're going to get future lessons. And so some of the lessons may be in here, but really you want to go to you want to log into the members only area. And so that'll be, at the top where it says members only. So you want to register there. That actually tracks that you're going through your lessons. And so for sure, you're putting $50 million into the certification. You definitely want a piece of paper, at the end of it. If you don't go ahead and do the members only, you don't get credit for going through it, the lessons. So they're going to be moving more to that. Here you see lesson 1. That was last week's lesson in being able to go through the certification. So hopefully you're reading this, going through this. What do we want to cover today? So what we want to cover today is a couple things. We've talked about floating, your people over to your left. That's really important. If you don't, you're going to vaporize them, or you're going to get burnt out, one or the other. So if Matt doesn't have Rosanna and Jill just rock solid, like, that's not going to work good for Rosanna and Jill or Matt. He's too high of a frequency. Same thing is true if Mark, Reynolds and Nancy Verse, if they're not really strong, then Rosanna's going to vaporize them. She's a tigress. Like, you got, oh my gracious, wow. She's just brutal. So maybe Mark Reynolds isn't able to do it. Maybe we pull, Avalinda into Mark's and move Mark out. So the further you get out into the tree, the atomic ripple reaction team and tree, the kind of the weaker it is. It's like you're to the epicenter, like it's the heart of everything. These individuals hear their machines. Like people often mistake Matt and Roseanne as machines. Like everybody's coming up, they're like, "Are you guys human? Like, do you ever make any mistakes?" And obviously Matt does, but he always does it on purpose, which is okay if you're making mistakes on purpose. But as these three get stronger, this next ripple out gets stronger, and then the next ripple out. So now you have these four individuals each getting, the next ripple out. And so that's how you build it. And again, I've tried to do this for, over a year, and I have no success. I mean, nobody gets it. Nobody listens to me. I don't know why people listen to the wizard. Like, it's crazy, but they do. So it works. So get people involved, and they won't listen to you probably, okay? They might humor you and make you think, but they're not really listening to you. But they will the wizard. Again, I don't know his secrets, but it's there. Okay, so today it's important that the wizard and or anyone representing the wizard should never have to speak more than once. Okay, so that would be myself or Matt. Like if anyone's speaking on behalf of the wizard, and you have to have permission from the wizard to do this, I do. And so, like, I should never have to say anything twice to any of you. Like, that's the expectation. Like, the wizard never says something twice to me. If he did, well, then I wouldn't be his best friend. It pays to be his best friend. And Alan Stein, the wizard might have had to tell him something twice. That's why he's his second best friend, not the first best friend. Anyways, you can't be told twice. Like, you just can't. It's a rule. So great versus good natural law is good people have to be told, once to do something. Great people never have to be told even once. And average or below average people have to be told more than once. And so if you have to be told more than once to do something, it's okay to be average, I guess, or below average, but just know that's what you are. Like, that's just what you are. You're average to below average. There's nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of people out there like it, but don't think that you're special or amazing, because you're not. You're average to below average. Now, if you want to be great, you learn to be a seer. That's another lesson. You learn to be a seer, where you can see things before somebody tells you to do things. Now, every interruption natural law is based on university studies, and we always know those are perfect, right? Like, you always want to trust. Like, people will say to the wizard periodically, like, "Wizard, you seem to mock education." That's not true. He does not mock education. He has deep respect for higher education. Oh, one other thing. The wizard knows how to impersonate anyone's voice. So when Matt's talking, it may not be Matt talking. It may be the wizard. You just think Matt's talking. It's the weirdest thing. Like, somebody said they watched one of the wizard videos, and they're like, "He sounds a little bit like you." Of course he sounds like me. I mean, he can sound like any one of us at any single time. So anyways, so every interruption costs, based on university studies, every interruption costs us 20 minutes of lost productivity. So even a 1-minute interruption costs us 20 minutes of lost productivity. Never waste the wizard's time ever, like ever. And don't waste anybody that's representing the wizard's time as well. You just don't do it. Internalize the following. Now, what do we mean when we mean internalize? Like on the leverage call yesterday with Tom and Peter, like, those guys are geniuses. Like, man, the wizard's so impressed with those guys. Oh, the last Saturday of every month, and so coming up here in 2 months in April, there's going to be every Saturday, the last Saturday of every month, in the Chicago area, the wizard comes in to Chicago and graces us with his presence. I mean, it's unbelievable. You actually get to meet the wizard live and in person. So Alan and Nancy are coming in April. It's Friday night and then, most of Saturday. Anyway, so you want to do that. So yesterday, I was learning from Tom and Peter about internalization. So always be intentional on what you say to the wizard when the wizard is around, which is, always. So the wizard could be with us right now. Just assume that he is. And everywhere you go, the wizard's there. Just assume that, okay? There's 10 reasons why people talk. So clueless, ego, seduce, educate, connect, move, insecure, thinking, destruction, and intention. Now you might be saying, Mark, I'm supposed to write everything down that I'm internalizing it, right? Yes, you are. You might say, well, Mark, you talk too fast. Well, we've got a lot to cover today, so I'm going to talk fast. You can just stop the recording and just slow it down. Clueless. Ego. Seduce. Anyways, won't go through all of that. So writing these things down, and then you want to, like Tanglewood, like they're amazing. They've written these 10 things down, and what they do is before they speak now, not all the time, not 100% of the time, but many times they'll go and say it's a 4, or it's a 7, or it's a 9, or it's a 10. So they'll actually say the intention of why they're talking. And so make sure you're intentional. It's really, really important. Okay, Matt, I think we've, the workbook. The wizard won't work on the workbook for this, even though you're investing $50 million. He's like, you know what? I mean, the first lesson was worth $50 million. I mean, everything beyond this is a gift to you from the wizard, is what he told me to tell you guys. And so here's the workbook here. And so if the wizard doesn't get full participation, okay, so the people that are engaged, the people that are engaged, if somebody's not engaged, push them out to the right. Just get the people in the right. That way they feel, there's kind of their future, wizards in training and being able to go through this. Matt, what would you like to accomplish today?
On your certification white paper, you talk about MindPath, but I guess before that, just regarding the 30-minute strategy session, what is the most important thing that we need to internalize about that?
You have to ask everybody you know, everybody you connect with, strangers, friends, family, what their biggest challenge is.
And then after that?
Then you go, put your hand to your chin and go, that's interesting, like I'm doing right now. You can feel the energy. That a wizard taught me this. And then you go, that's interesting. Tell me more.
Okay. And then from there and then through the 30-minute strategy session, what's that mind path that we should be striving for while we're taking somebody through it?
Well, the thing that's hard is until you have the epiphany, and you won't have the epiphany until you talk to total strangers. So, Teresa, you went through an exercise, in EVA certification. It's only like 14% of people make it through that. So that's just like Teresa's a wizard just to make it through that. And Teresa went through exercise where she talked to total strangers. Can you talk about that, Teresa?
Sure. So it was an exercise where it was challenging me to go to talk to people that I've never met and just ask them. I think it was their biggest challenge, what they'd love help on, and maybe their personality. I'm not sure. But I just went out in public into the stores and walked up to somebody, and it can be a little intimidating at first, but some of these people just like really opened up and were sharing part of their life stories where I had to find a way to get away where I could keep walking and finish my stuff. But it showed that you could really connect with people in new ways just by a couple quick questions and catching them off guard and being willing to engage.
Okay. So until you experience that, Matt, you experience that, you're never going to be good at doing a 30-minute strategy session. You just won't. Until you go up to strangers and say, and I don't know, Teresa, were you given any type of a setup on that, or did you just make up one on your own?
I think I just made one up. I went up and said hi and went right in.
So, so a lot of people can't do that, They can't come up with something. And so part of, so if you and I are walking through, this is one of the wizard's favorite, tales. If you're walking through the woods and you and I see a butterfly breaking free of a cocoon, and you and I, because we're the nicest people on the planet, right? Like, we are so nice. Like, oh my gracious, like, we're so nice. And we feel the pain of the, butterfly, and so we don't want the butterfly to go through the pain, and we very carefully, just with surgeon precision, cut open that cocoon and free that butterfly. What will happen to that butterfly because of our love, compassion, and consideration?
It'll die.
It'll die! Why will it die?
Because that struggle is needed to strengthen its body and wings in order to be able to fly.
Right. A little bit better explanation is the membranes, okay, you say that, membranes in the wings get filled through that struggle, which give it the strength to fly. If it doesn't fly, got to be a little more dramatic. Matt's getting better at that. If it can't fly, it'll either starve to death or get eaten, because you and I were so kind to it. And so we live in a society today where, like, everybody is so crazy, insane, sensitive. Like, it's like, oh my gracious, you said something that, like we wonder why there's anxiety. We wonder why there is depression. We wonder why there's so much stress and violence and everything. It's like, duh. Like, hello. And so like, you think because you paid $50 million to participate in this, you think, oh, I'm going to be spoon-fed. No, you're not going to be spoon-fed. You're going to have to work really hard. And so a lot of this stuff, like Teresa or I or Matt or Jill or Rosanna, like, I'm the one that's the nice one. Like, the wizard has to work with me because I'm always trying to, coddle people and help people. But Teresa and Jill and Rosanna and Matt, oh my gracious, they'll never give you. They want to make you pay. They want to make you suffer. They want you to earn your way into it like crazy. I'm the nice parent. They're the bad parent. I'm the good cop. They're the bad cop. And so people think, like, I'm being nice to them when I give them the answers to the test. Like, what kind of stupidity is that? So we could give you the setup. Teresa could go ahead, like she already gave you a hint. She thinks she's being nice. Say hi, like hello. Like, that's got to be really hard to come up with. Say hi. Say hi. And then what does she say after that? People want to know. Go out and figure it out for yourself. Like, hello. So a lot of the training in the wizard is not designed to be easy or simple or, oh, this is too hard. It's designed to be hard, so you have to exercise your brain to be able to think when you're doing the 30-minute strategy session. So if you don't go through that experience, Matt, where you talk to a total stranger and then all of a sudden they just spill their guts, they just tell their life story, and you're like, wow, like, all I got to do is ask somebody their biggest challenge. You have the courage. When my son was, Ben, he's 19 now. When he was like, I don't know, 12 or 13, he might have been talking to Tom Coons, somebody, about girls, and they said 3 seconds of courage. So when you see a really pretty girl and you're really intimidated by her, you don't want to talk, just all you need is 3 seconds of courage. It's another natural law. You go up 3 seconds of courage and say hi to the pretty girl. And then all you need is 3 seconds of courage. And so I don't know why people don't do what Teresa did. Does anyone have any questions on that?
I don't. Not right now.
No.
So how many of you will go out and do what Teresa shared to do?
I will.
I will. I've done it.
So I'd be surprised, I'd be surprised if anybody did it. I would. and I want to be nice to you, because, oh, by the way, you guys didn't read in the little print, the $50 million is not refundable. Like, if you get mad at the Wizard or you say this is stupid, you can't ask for a refund. It's done. It's over. So the Wizard doesn't have to be nice to you. And neither does Matt. Me, I tend to be really nice with you guys, but Matt and the Wizard, oh my gracious, they're really brutal. So the Wizard's not going to accept any excuses. It's like, if you don't get this done, you're sloppy, lazy, undisciplined, and pathetic. I mean, that's just what it is. And Matt's going to tell you that next week. Other questions, Matt?
Not right now.
So, does everybody know what Matt's talking about on the mind path? So Matt thinks he's a pretty good leader now because he got a compliment. This is what often happens with people when you give them compliments. I gave him a compliment last week, and the Wizard's like, Mark, why'd you give Matt a compliment? Don't you think it's going to go to his head? I'm like, no. He's like, no, Mark, it's going to go to his head. So the reason you guys don't know about Mind Path is because Matt didn't manage up and out. Like, what's he thinking? Like, why didn't he manage up and out? Why didn't he go ahead and have some drama and say, you guys have got to, like, did any of you guys go through and do the workbook?
Nope.
Nope. Do you know why Matt didn't manage up and out? You guys know what Matt was like when he was like, I don't know, 12 years old in school? He was the teacher's pet. So I'm just saying, that's what he was. The Wizard told me this, and I just believe everything the Wizard said. So he was the teacher's pet. So that's what he's trying to do with the Wizard. It's like he's glad that he's got me between him and the Wizard, because the Wizard doesn't buy into that stuff. He sees through that stuff. See, the Wizard wants to look smarter, or Matt wants to look smarter than all of you guys. Like, he's the only one that really is digging in, so he doesn't want to give you guys any tips and say, hey, this is what I learned. Like, he wants to go ahead and be, he wants to be the host. Like, he doesn't want any of you, threatening his hostendom, whatever you call it. So, so you guys have got to go ahead. You guys have got to go ahead and push your art mentor more. Like, if they don't manage up and out to you, they're stealing from you. They're robbing from you. And Rosanna and Jill are both part of, the coffee connection. One of these days they're going to bring a ball bat to Matt and just go ahead and pound him over the head and say, Matt, stop hoarding the knowledge. Don, what would you like to accomplish today?
I'm just cluing in, that's all.
Okay. Jill, what would you like to accomplish today?
I would like somebody to go with me, and we'll go out and say hi to people and meet people.
Cool. Did you ask anybody in the Bahamas what their biggest challenge was?
Yes, I did.
Nice. See, that's what you do. Everywhere you go, doesn't matter where you go, that's where you go. Especially if you like being to some place, like a vacation, a nice place, you definitely want to go ahead and ask people their biggest challenge there so you can get some connections there, so you can do business trips there and go there, a lot more often. Rosanna, what would you like to accomplish today?
Well, I was just going to make a comment on the getting out and asking people their biggest challenge.
In the future, the Wizard would say to you, you don't have to put all the fat on the front. I'm going to make a comment. Of course you're going to make a comment if you're talking. You can just cut all that stuff out and just make the comment, just for future reference. Go ahead.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow. All right. Well, I had made some calls last week and was struggling because people were trying to hang up on me, and I interjected before they hung up and said to them, can I ask you one quick question? And I asked them their biggest challenge, and it created a curiosity to the point where I actually got them to agree to a 30-minute strategy session because I told them there were more questions just like that one in the 30-minute strategy session, and that was all free.
She's a wizardess. Like, oh my gracious, like brain surgery, rocket science is like, oh my gracious, you know, it works. You mean they're going to hang up and you interrupt them and say, I just had one quick question, like, what's the biggest challenge you're facing, you know, in any area of your business or life? Like, what do you have to lose? But people have so much fear, like so much fear. And so, yes, awesome, high five. Like, how do you build that, bake that into your entire Wizards art? Like that right there, that's got to be worth at least $10 million of the $50 million right there. Like, boom, you can interrupt people that are going to hang up on you. Just go ahead and do it. It's okay, and you can turn some of those people around. That's awesome. Anything else, Rosanna, you got?
No.
Awesome. Congratulations. Alan, what would you like to accomplish today?
Well, I'm new to the group, so I just wanted to join and see what it was all about, what you guys do here and everything.
What'd you learn today?
I'm working on that.
So, does anybody want to tell Alan what he learned on a subconscious basis?
Write down what you heard so you can internalize it.
That should have been conscious. Like, that was really clear. Like, conscious, you write it down. Like, that was talked about. So good. Matt's pointing out the painfully obvious. You know why? Because Matt knows that a number of you are stupid. He's not nice like I am, so he's just calling you stupid. Like, you know, you probably didn't get that you're supposed to write it down to internalize it. Anyone else have any ideas on what Alan's thinking, you know, on a subconscious basis?
How does this work in his business?
A little bit better than that. Like, Alan's like, oh my gracious, who are two people that I could invite to this? Because, like, if I could invite two people to this, I mean, there's magic that's going on here. Like, I could go ahead and, who are two people that really could, you know, stand up to the Wizards' pressure? Like, who could handle the directness, you know, of this group? Like, Alan's going through and mentally, subconsciously, he's writing everybody down, and then he's got, you know, probably got 10 people. It's like, oh my gracious, I only get 2. Who am I going to do? That's what he's thinking. Like, he's thinking, how am I going to invite 2 people? Who am I going to invite 2 people to next week? That's what he's thinking on a subconscious basis. Like, Alan's subconscious mind is just amazing. I mean, just absolutely amazing. You'll grow to love it like I do. Teresa, what would you like to accomplish?
I would like to learn how to ask better questions past the first set of standard ones to engage and learn about the person.
It's coming through listening. As you gain better listening skills, you'll ask better questions. I don't know that you're listening at a deep level, at a subconscious level, to what's going on. So improve your listening skills, and your question skills will just skyrocket. Does that help?
Yeah, that's something to work on.
Cool. Matt, anything else you want to have before we wrap up here?
Not on this call, Mark.
Okay, so what we're going to do is sometimes people can stick around afterwards if you can, fine. If you can't, fine. It's 30 minutes. You're committing to 30 minutes of lesson time a week, and then 30 minutes of practicing that lesson. That may be reading the white paper, maybe going into the workbook. It may be taking 30 minutes that you're already spending doing something else and just inserting what you're learning here. So it's not necessarily an additional 30 minutes. It may be 30 minutes you're already having during the week that you're using more effective. And so if you want to stick around, you can. The bonus is not recorded, and so you definitely want to participate if you can. Always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. God bless. Have a great day. Bye-bye.